it's a story so bizarre that it's actually a little hard to believe. A TSA agent under arrest charged with lewd and lascivious molestation of a minor. Police say he tried to keep a girl as a sex slave.
Police arrested 57-year-old Charles Bennett after a 15-year-old reported him to police. Melissa DePani is live at the Orange County Jail with new details on this sex slave story. Melissa.
Yeah, Bennett remains behind bars here at the Orange County Jail. He's being held on no bond. Now, even though the arrest report was heavily edited, we were still able to piece together some disturbing details about Bennett.
According to reports from the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the jail, the 15-year-old victim confided in her caregivers that Bennett had touched her inappropriately 3 years ago when she was 12. He had also asked the young girl to be his, quote, sex slave, an accusation investigators say Bennett admitted to in a written statement to police. He also admitted to grabbing the girl's breasts from behind and solicited her to be his sex partner. We went to Bennett's home in Winter Garden to talk with his wife about the allegations, but she wasn't home. Police are not saying what the relationship is between Bennett and this young girl. But digging deeper, we did find Bennett's MySpace page where he calls himself Master Charles and says he's into submissive females and says he is a master of bondage, dominance, sadism, and masochism. Neighbors who did not want to talk on camera say they are stunned to learn about Bennett's arrest and interests. They tell Fox 35 Bennett is a former Marine gunnery sergeant who retired after 20 years of active service. Some even told us they wrote recommendations so he could get his current TSA job.
And no word on whether or not Bennett will be able to keep his TSA job. Live at the Orange County Jail, Melissa DePani, Fox 35 News.
Just found this video from a guy named John. He's an actor in Portland, YouTuber, and what happened was his mother was coming home from Hawaii, and she's in a wheelchair, and TSA got overly aggressive with her, and he's pretty emotional about it. He wanted this video to get out there, so I'm reposting his video. Check it out.
So I just got a call from my mother, and my parents were flying home from Hawaii, and they did a layover in Portland to hop on the next plane to go to California. And the reason that I'm making this video is because this is where we're heading in society. Now, my mother is probably the most honest. My parents are about the most honest people you will ever meet in your entire lives. And when I say that, I mean that. I mean, they are utterly the nicest, most sincere people you will ever meet. They don't drink, they don't smoke, they play by the rules. Even if I say I'm going to bend the rules, they say stay within the parameter of the world. And so my poor mother, who's short and has a knee problem, like a lot of people that are in our generation's parents' demographic, she gets a wheelchair and is being pushed from this nice gal through the airport. And while she's being pushed through the airport in the wheelchair, the bell goes off for the thing, and all of a sudden she hears this alert going, frisk the lady, frisk the lady. So here's my poor little mother and my dad just trying to get home on an airplane, and detained and taken into a room at the Portland airport. And my mother is in tears, and she's got a lady who is basically telling her to spread eagle against the wall, frisking her and feeling her private parts with, just like you'd go to a doctor, because they think she's a terrorist. This is where we're at in America. This is where the everyday people who are wandering through are now, we are now the terrorists. And the reason that I'm making this video is because I am not about to spend my entire life hiding under a rock without letting the world know that I'm here and that I'm going to stick up for something that goes beyond what societal norm dictates, that we all just shut our eyes and walk away. That's not happening, not on my clock, ever. And for my mother, I hope somebody picks this video up, and I hope they take it to the news, and I hope that somebody does something to combat the fact that as Americans, we are now the terrorists. It's no longer the terrorists. And here's my poor mother with a freaking rubber glove up her crotch, if you can imagine that, bawling her eyes out, just trying to get back to her own damn home. And what do? They tell her that they're going to arrest her if she doesn't stop and let them do this. And of course, any person on the planet is not going to sit there and want their hoo-ha, felt up in an airport, for God's sake. And my dad's going on and on about asking, can't we run the wheelchair back? And they say no. And on top of that, Not once in the entire conversation did they ever ask for my parents' ID. You do the math. And here's the scary part. The scary part is that in this country, that you have no rights. If they thought she was a terrorist, they would have held her all day, every day, for as long as they wanted, because the new rule is that if they think you're a terrorist, they can detain you for as long as they want to detain you. Period. In jail for any amount of time. You have no rights. Our rights are gone. G-O-N-E. Look it up. And I hope to hell that somewhere this video makes it to somebody who changes something, because this is bullshit. Thank you.
Colleen, let me set the scene for you for the latest incident. It was this past Sunday night here at LAX about 7:30, probably crowded because a lot of people were coming home from the New Year's holiday, when suddenly a man starts acting strangely. He starts saying, "I'm God, I'm in charge." LAX police and arrest that man, and he turns out to be a TSA agent. They are the first line of defense in airport security, Transportation Security Administration agents. But there have been two troubling incidents involving LAX TSA agents recently. A source tells Channel 4 News a TSA agent was arrested on January 3rd here at Terminal 1 at LAX. He'd just gotten off duty and was behaving erratically, saying, "I am God, I'm in charge." The agent was arrested under the welfare code and could have been hospitalized in protective custody for up to 72 hours. Meanwhile, a TSA internal affairs investigation turned up evidence of LAX TSA agents using drugs at an after-hours party. TSA officials say a videotape of the party was of poor quality and the employees were not in uniform.
Get the fuck away from me.
You need to stop filming.
You leave me alone.
You need to stop filming.
Get your hands off of me.
I'm not touching you.
Get your hands off of me.
Stop filming. I call the police.
Yeah, you do whatever the fuck you want. You touch me, I'll throw you down the stairs.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's gonna be this war on terror, which is no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, you know, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah. He says, there's going to be war on terror, and he's just laughing. There's no, who are we fighting? 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. That's what it's about, and to create this war, this endless war on terror. And that's why and that was the first lie. And the next lie was going into Iraq to get Saddam Hussein out with his weapons of mass destruction. That was the next lie. The fact of the matter happens to be that the whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. Yeah, there's a war going on in Iraq because we invaded Iraq. And people over there fighting, But the war on terror, that's a joke, And until we discover what really happened on 9/11 and who was responsible for 9/11, because that's where the war on terror emanates from. That's where it comes from. It was 9/11 that allowed this war on terror to begin. And until we get to the bottom root of 9/11, the truth of 9/11, we'll never know about the war on terror.